Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Professor Sistrunk and I'm reaching out to the student body. Okay, students, so you are in this class which is Linux Essentials, and I hope that you are really enjoying the class. I know getting started, sometimes it can be hard and you're learning some new information. What you see on my screen right now is you see the Linux portal, but you also see a subset of windows that I have downloaded Linux onto my system. So we'll use that, but I'll talk about that later. So right now, I want to get you prepared to do your first lesson. Now, I am going to consistently run these lessons on and just keep doing them so you can see how simple, how easy it is to accomplish this goal in learning Linux. But remember, this is the beginning, people. This is the bedrock. It's the first step. So take your time. Really try to learn this particular operating system, because this operating system, while you was reading through the chapter, you saw it yourself. It's in everything. It's in cars. It's in telephones. It's in, I said telephone, that's cell phone. Man, I'm just dating myself. How old are you, Professor? But anyway, it's in cell phones. It's in all type of devices out there that you'll use. When you buying all these different type of devices that you use to run your day-to-day life, Linux is the bedrock behind those devices, that operating system. You learned that it's multiple different types of operating systems, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit more too. But what I want to start off with is just getting you into the groove of doing the Linux work. So we're going to talk about a few of the commands. Now I want to stress this. There are people who take all type of college classes. There are people who take all type of training classes in IT. There are people who go to training spots into IT. But where most of them lose out is this. They do not learn how to use the commands or do the programs or understand how to configure things. Once you get that under your belt, you can never lose it. So if you take your time and learn these applications, this one here, this is in everything. If you're going into cybersecurity, this is your world to know Linux. Can you get a job in cybersecurity without knowing Linux? Of course! But here's the problem. The person who knows Linux and the person who do not know Linux, the person who has a real good understanding of Linux will always move up. So learn Linux. With that being said, let's take a look at a few of the commands. And yes, if you see me looking this way, I have my cheat sheet over here. Hey, I'm a professor. I have 1,000 things going on and I gotta have something to keep me on track, or this video log will turn into 100 hours. Yes, it will. So this is basically introducing you to the command line. Now, what you learned in the reading, you have GUI and you have the command line. And yes, Linux has a GUI that you can actually use. But what we're going to start off with is getting you used to the command line, because that's truly what Linux excels at. So that's what we're going to work on. Now remember, it's 3 Linux courses, and I don't know why I turned my hand that way, but it's 3 Linux courses. Linux Essential, Linux 1, and Linux 2. Our hope is that you complete all of them, because if you complete them all, you get a certificate in this world, and they advance you step by step. You go up and up the chain. I'm going to talk about those 3 classes as we move on. You can see that one of the classes also in the second 8 weeks. So if you need permission to sign up for that class, let me know. I'll clear you for it because I see you in this. Let's talk about Linux. Let's get into it. So the first thing you're gonna learn is that you read the material. It talked about the bash. It talked about the shell. You have over here your screen. I told you a little bit about the screen last time. You just click here if you want to make it big, or you see what Linux distribution. See, I was about to say version, but Linux distribution you are using, and we're using Ubuntu. So let's move on. So now, of course, we want to make sure you understand the file and directory system in Linux. And we also want to make sure you understand that you will be working with the CLI. So one of the things that I like about this, and I love these courses because they really get a person prepared for Linux. But one of the things I really like, it says most users are probably more familiar with the commands and execution using the graphical user interface. And you heard me talk about the GUI, so you know what a GUI is. But in the Linux world, we use the CLI or the command line. So just make sure you understand you will be in control. Now, I gave you a little scenario of what I mean by that. I used the car reference. You have automatic cars and you have manual cars. In the manual cars, we tend to say that person got a stick, meaning they got a stick operating that car. That gives you more control. You're gonna learn, you just type in a command. So I'm gonna type in this command and you get results. That's what manual using a stick does. You put in a command and you get results. Now, I can go into the directory of a Windows system and click on one folder and try to get to all of these files, but I wouldn't really get to this here. I'll probably get one folder open up that'll show me maybe some files, depending on where I'm at. But I know by typing in list files, I'm able to see this. And that's all I did was I list the folder structure within Linux. You can see it right here. So what I need you to do is remember this. Remember the command, the option, the arguments. Now, it's important. Once you get that down, you understand Linux. I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna be honest with you. You have a command and you simply ask yourself, what do I want to do? Well, I want to look at the folder structure. So I list files. That's the command. You have options. Let's take a look at what an option is. An option may say, I want to look at the files in a certain order. So I go ls-space-l and I hit it. Now I see them in a certain order. So that's what options are. They allow you to change things around and see them in a certain order. And it says it right here, use -L option to display the information in the long format. So you basically using options to manipulate the data to do what you want it to do. Now, we talked about commands, we talked about options, but we have those arguments. And right here, here's the argument right here that says, I want to look at the entire home folder structure. And what I mean is the security on there, the system, who's in charge of it, and all that. So I'm gonna go type that in. I'm gonna say ls-l, and I'm gonna put /home. So once you get this concept down, you'll know what you're actually trying to pull out the system. And that's what Linux is about. Now, we on a basic level, so don't read more into it. Some people are like, wow, well, I can do this. No. This is the basic level. You're going to understand how to manipulate an operating system to do exactly what you want it to do. So that's the first piece of this. Now, the rest of the commands are just commands you're using to get information. Like, who am I? Who am I is who's on the system right now. You'll find out that when you're in a IT department, a lot of people be using sometimes the same systems. Like you go in the server room or the router room or whatever they call the room at that time. You go in there and you may walk up to a system and start typing in who am I to find out who's on that system right now, who's using that system. You want to make sure that, because you don't want to go do some work on the system and somebody else is already listed in the system or using the system, and you doing work on the system. So you want to always check. And in the Linux world, that's what we do. We always check to make sure we in authority. Now, of course, you'll be walking around with your own laptop doing your work, but sometimes you do have to use other people's systems. So that's what you want to know. Who on the system right now? So that's what the who am I about. And you have other commands like uname, and that's just going to tell you what version of Linux you're using or what operating system you're using. So I'm not going to type that in. I'm going to move through this real quickly. PWD command is used to display the location. So you can see right there, it displays the location. What else in here? You have to go through the whole thing and list everything. It's just certain things I'm going to point out right now that you should, just to show you that you can get real comfortable with this system. My goal is at the end of this, you understand the commands, and then you watch me put an entire Linux system together on an old PC and then start using it. So you can get in the habit of using Linux. Right here, this is the history command. It tells me how many commands I put in there thus far. So you'll see, you'll be able to do that. You see, I got a bunch of commands in there right now. But also, you can come here and put the date command in, and the date command will tell you the particular date of what's happening right now. Now, of course, this date is off because we're working inside of that system. But if it was a corporation, if I come right here to my system and type in the date command, watch what happened. DATE, bam. Now you see the date for where I'm at, and you see exactly what time I'm working on this new video log for you right there. So that's my system. This is their system. They're not wrong because this is a company that we use. So you can see that's what the history command. Know the clear command too. That clears out your screen. So that clears the screen for you. You don't want a lot of garbage on your screen. What else in here is important? Well, everything is important, but things that I'm gonna highlight. The echo command, you're gonna get a chance to use the echo command. It's just gonna print out the text that you put in, but we're gonna use it in another part of this class because you're gonna build scripts. And these scripts, you're gonna use echo command in. So this is just printing out information. What else? This is showing different paths. Now, if you look at this path, echo path command, that pretty much lists everything in the file. If I take it over to my computer, now if you see some crazy stuff, don't blame the professor. I like having fun with that. If I type in echo and $ path, right, it'll show, you see mine is a lot deeper than what you see over here. And that would be the same thing on your particular computer. So if you say echo $ path, and what do I mean by path? Well, professor, what do you mean by path? Well, the path command is just a command showing you the path of the system directory, the folders and how they're lined up. As you can see, home, system admin, this is that path. It's showing you how they all put together in the home folder. And take your time, people. Don't rush it. It's not to be rushed. You had which date, you can type that command in to find out what that path is at. What else in here? Type command, type in the command, the type command CD. CD is the shell bulletin. It's just telling you, all it's doing is telling you where files and folders at these particular commands. Learn them. So you see, you can actually drill down to every file and folder you need to find. That's what Linux allows you to do. If you was in a Windows world, unless you know where that file folder at, you'll have to do a deep search. But we got PowerShell in the Windows world, so we can just type in some PowerShell. And one day I'm gonna put a PowerShell class together. Hopefully you guys will take it. Try your best to create you a cheat sheet real quick so you can do stuff like that. I think that's it with this part. Now, in the next section, I'm gonna talk about two other things. I'm gonna talk about a newsletter I'm about to send out to you guys so you can have it. Okay, students, so it's a couple of things I want to talk to you about in the process of this course moving forward. A lot of you, after you read through the material, you saw the Linux Professional Institution. In the Linux Professional Institution, this is an organization that I really like and I enjoy, and I just want to tag you in on the information about it. One of the main things is all of the certifications you can get out of this organization, dealing with, of course, Linux. But as you can see, you can get Linux Essential, that's what you're working on, Security Essentials, or Web Development Essentials, and Open Source Essentials. Then you can come over to the professional certifications, which deal with LPIC 1, 2, 3 security, and 3 virtualization, and high availability. So these certifications are king in our industry. You may have not heard about it, but anybody who have one of these certifications can tell you Linux Professional Institution is by far one of the top institutions out there when it comes to learning Linux. Yeah, you're gonna hear about Red Hat, or you're gonna hear about CompTIA. All of them are good. I'm not putting any one of them down, but this is one of the places by far that is one of the leaders in the industry, and they on top of their game. My hope is that you'll get one or two of their certifications, but you also join the organization and become a member. And that is later on down the line, but hopefully you will actually move forward in that. To take the certification the same way you take all certifications, you go to Pearson VUE, you take the certifications. You can actually possibly take the certification at home. I'm for sure you can't take it at home. So Pearson just gonna look at your system at home, and there it is. You can take the certification at home. You don't have to go anywhere. But this is one of the places I want you to start thinking about. Now, the Linux Essential certification, as you can see it right here, is laid out on what you need to do. It tells you the cost. It tells you the certification. This will be a basic certification. Yes. I know you're asking that question. Have any of my students got the certification? Yes, they have. That's one of the reasons that I combine Netacad, which is Cisco, with NDG, with Linux Professional Institution. So think about it. Put it on your calendar to sit for the certification, especially as you get close to the end of this. Just to hit a couple of key highlights on this. You get the certification number. You can actually see it's only 40 questions, people. 40 questions, multiple choice. It's not no real heavy duty certification. And it lays out what the certification is all about. So go to the site, look it over, put it on your map to actually sit for the certification. Hopefully you will. This is what I use when I do Linux on my computer. This is called how to install Linux on a Windows WSL. This here will allow you to put Linux on there. So you saw this right here. That's what I have. Yeah, so as you can see, I got multiple versions of Linux. I got Kali, Debian, Ubuntu. So I can use any one of those versions of Linux on my Windows system. I'm gonna talk more about that as we go on, because I don't want you to build out a Linux system right now unless you are 100% for sure you're gonna use Linux. So I'm gonna talk a little bit more about that as we go on, but this is how you install it, and I'm actually gonna walk through it or connect you to someone who is doing this work all the time. You'll see me send information about various YouTubers out there. So I might hook you up one, or I just might do it myself. And the very last thing that I want to talk to you about to keep this video log short, I am going to be sending out a newsletter. It's called Tech Ed Connect. I'm going to be sending this out because it's a lot of things happening in our industry with AI, etc. So hopefully when you receive the newsletter, you will know that it's just me trying to keep you up on what's happening. My first article is going to deal with AI skills, how to skill yourself up in the AI world, and you're going to see me using various AI tools in this class to keep you up to par. So I'm not against AI. I just want to make sure you learn how to use AI while you learning how to use this particular application. You're going to hear me talk a lot about hacking, one of the things I want you to be mindful is you're going into a world where hackers are just clowning, they just doing everything. But hey, I'm not against them. I'm just saying you need to know about them. You're going to see me throw these articles out there. So it's going to be coming soon. Now, if you don't want the newsletter, just discontinue. Don't subscribe. But if you want it, make sure you subscribe, because these newsletters going to be outstanding. I think it's going to be outstanding because it's information you need to know, but that's up to you. Okay, with that being said, this is the end of the journey of this particular vlog. This will be your second vlog, and it's going to have questions that you're going to have to answer in the discussion. So be prepared. I just sent it out early so you already be prepared to answer it in the discussion section. I hope you enjoyed this session. If you did, give me a thumbs up. If not, hey, that's life. Moving right along.